All right, hello everybody. We're going to get started today for our annual public board meeting. My name is Jenny Paradise. I'm currently the president of AMCSI. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm an AMC mom. My daughter Dylan is 9. She's not here with us this conference, but we live in Minnesota. Our bylaws require that we have one annual public board meeting. So we've always done that around conference time when people are already together. We sometimes change where it's at in conference, but we've the last few years done it right before closing ceremony. So we just have a few agenda items today we're going to run through like we would a typical board meeting. So the first thing that we usually do is an official call to order. Alexis is our current secretary, so we'll be starting today's board meeting at 2:05. We then usually do roll call to make sure that we have quorum, which is a majority of our board members have to be present if we have any official business that we want to vote on. So we do have a quorum today. Those of us present today are myself. We have Alexis, who's currently serving both the vice president and secretary role. We've been keeping her very busy. We have Josh, who's our new treasurer. We have Brittany, one of our member at larges. Marshall, next to her here, another member at large. Dr. Nabosa is our medical director. And then Maria joins all of our board meetings, helps support all of us. Not a voting member, but she's over there on the end. We have quorum. Which is quorum. We do have 3 board members not present today. So some of you may have met Matt. He was here for conference, but his flight was early this morning, so he has left. And then we have 2 member at larges who were not able to make conference due to some personal things they had going on. Carol's been on our board for over a year. She was at last year's conference if you were there. And then Erin joined us this spring. The next thing we usually do in a board meeting is just run through the agenda. Board members can submit agenda items a couple days in advance, just making sure nothing got missed. We have everything captured. We typically start with updates in a number of areas, including conference. Michelle usually joins for that part of the meeting and lets us know what the planning team needs. Then we do financial updates. Sometimes we vote on whatever is updated that month, if there's any questions. We review any membership, grant, or committee updates as well. Then we move on to some new and old business. And our meetings tend to run about 2.5 hours usually. Today we'll hold you that one. All right, just a few conference updates. First of all, I know some of the Loom crew's in here. I don't see everybody, but I just want to extend a thank you to the Loom crew, to the volunteers. This is a really, really, really big job that takes all year to plan, and so just appreciate all of you that have helped get us to this point. So thank you so much. I think our official registration count was around 520, maybe a little bit over. That's not the largest one we've ever had. I've heard that last time we were in this hotel actually was our largest conference, but it is higher than last year. Another exciting update for this conference is this is the first year we've given out two different conference scholarships. The first one is we now have the Braden Dean Conference Scholarship. So this is in honor of Braden, a donation annually that we'll be receiving to support somebody to attend conference, expenses covered. We also received an anonymous donation this year to ask us to also sponsor a family. So there were 2 grants this year, and we were able to award 3 different adults with our third ride hostess and a guest to come this year with all expenses paid. Thank you, Don. All right, I'm going to pass this next couple of slides over to Josh, who will give us our financial update.
Hello, so we did complete our 2022 filings with the IRS. So these numbers are current as of then. So for our December 31st filings, we had $617,000 total assets, no liabilities at that time. Most of our income does come from donations and fundraisers, so we do, appreciate all of those. The next biggest chunk comes from conference, and then followed by T-shirts. We do make a little bit from dues and the fundraising store, but we really appreciate those donations and fundraisers because that's what keeps the organization going. And then on the expense side, most of it's our employees and our staffing. We talked about it at the opening ceremony. We do have Maria and Ted and Ani that are on staff. And then we also have our G&A expenses, the general and admin, so professional fees, office expenses, whatever else that encompasses. Those are our biggest two expenses for last year, and then obviously conference is a decent chunk as well. But overall, it was a good year, and we just appreciate those donations, and please keep them coming.
Thank you, Josh. Sorry, I have to keep moving this around for friends online here. All right, we usually run through membership updates. So as of this week, we have 259 memberships. Some of you may have noticed we did make some changes this year where we've added a lot more value propositions depending on the one that you purchase, different things that you have access to, different information, having access to our grants, for example. And that 259 includes all of our single and family. We also now have a patron and a health professional membership level. This is also the first year we offer the ability to sponsor a membership. So some of you may have seen that when you purchased yours. I think we even still have some to give away if anybody wants to nominate anybody for membership. But that was also something that we kicked off this year as well. All right, I'm going to hand this off to Alexis for some grant updates.
All right, so I wanted to highlight let me have the Facebook people. Hi, Facebook people. I wanted to highlight our mini meetup grants because I think not enough people are utilizing those. If you guys get together, we can pay for your permit if you want to meet in a big venue. And I know that we've given out a lot of these in the past, and then COVID hit, and we want to give out a bunch more now that we're seeing sunnier days. And then we have new business in the grant world, which is something that I'm proposing to the board. So now you're seeing a real live board meeting discussion like we have every month. But hello, board. We have had a hardship grant since 2020. It was called originally the COVID hardship grant. And it was back before we had vaccinations. It was back before we had any real knowledge of what this would mean for our families. But we watched our families lose their jobs, be hospitalized. We didn't know what comorbidities would be associated with arthroposis. Our research team was on it, and they have since published that research published or made it available to our membership, their findings on that. And now that we have wrapped that up, we've noticed we're not giving out this grant very often. It has morphed over the last couple of years. We've given it out to people with nebulous hardships, and that is not quantifiable. We've never sat down and defined exactly what we wanted from a hardship grant recipient. So people are less likely to seek it out. So my proposal today is to eliminate the hardship grant and replace it with the exact same amount yearly allotted to the hardship grant to an accessibility grant. And the accessibility grant that I am proposing would be for grab bars and for lifts and for things like bidets, things that would be around $1,000 or less that people have said that they've needed. Not that they've reached out to us and applied for it, but that they have come up to us and said, oh, I need a grab bar for my shower. I need a 2-foot folding ramp for my front door. Stuff that most of our attendees would feel more comfortable knowing what they need, being able to apply for it. There were 3 things. It was grab bars, lifts, what was the third thing?
They use ramps.
Ramps. Okay, lifts and ramps, I'm considering 2 different things, and bidets. So opening it up to discussion. Any discussion? Gonna let me off easy? Is everyone okay to put it up for a vote?
All motion?
We have a motion from Josh. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Marshall. All in favor say aye, nod,
Aye.
or raise your hand.
Aye.
And just for when I looked at Facebook later, when I took in the minutes, I had Marshall, aye, Brittany, aye, Jenny, aye, Josh, aye, Harold, aye, and I'll vote aye, because, yay. All right, the motion has passed, and usually these motions don't get applauded, that's fun. And that is all I have for updates. That went pretty smoothly.
Awesome, thank you, Alexis. And we'll take this back and, put together all the specifics and then share out with the community when we're ready to start offering that. All right, next order of business is I just wanted to review with the board and with all of you some of the high points over the last year since last conference. We've been very, very busy. A lot of this stuff has been behind the scenes, helping with some different foundational changes and support, board changes and support. And then on the next slide, kind of running through making sure we're all aligned on what we want to focus on for the rest of 2023. So I know this is pretty small and we can send it out after, and it really is just some buckets. The lists are much longer. But as you guys know, at quarter 3 of last year, so in October, actually, we brought on Maria. That was a lot of work right before that for recruiting and getting all ready to take on our first full-time staff. And then we had a lot of work to get her up to speed, a lot of knowledge transfer, meet and greet, making sure she was getting connected with the community. We had a 30, 60, 90-day plan for her and the team to focus on. So that was something that was spent a lot of time at the end of last year. We worked on formalizing our 2023 budget, making sure that was approved. It led to some changes with how we're tracking and bucketing things on our monthly reports. We added those new things to some of the membership levels that some of you saw, was an end of the year goal. We've also not had a CRM or a donor tracking system as updated as we would have liked. So was a lot of time spent by all 3 staff on getting that up and running. A lot of streamlining of how donations are coming in, automations of tax receipts, making that a lot easier, and thank you messaging, sending out personal notes from our executive director, and some donor appreciation thresholds, partnership creations, and then making sure that we were all up to speed on code of conduct and different requirements and things as we prepared for this year. Then in 2023, we increased our board size from 6 to 9. So we onboarded 3 new member at-larges, which included a finalization of a new board manual, a lot of board onboarding and training and development. We've launched some new committees. We have started our executive committee, which includes all 4 of the executive team members. We've started off slowly our fundraising committee, which Marshall will give a quick update on one of our events that we're planning right now. That is going to be growing. We'll be adding and looking for volunteers to join us on that too soon. And we've also kicked off a communications committee that helps us with social media ideas and different things we want to do around marketing and communication. We restructured how some of our financial tracking pieces are going, created the conference scholarships I mentioned, and then worked on getting nominations and voting on that. A lot of updates to websites, both for AMCSI and conference. Hopefully people have signed up for our newsletter. If you haven't, you can go online and sign up. That comes out monthly. So we kicked off a whole new layout with that and made sure that's going out monthly with a lot of new information. We had a mini conference event at Shriners that Ani and Maria attended in March. Initiated the free membership grant that I've mentioned. We've issued a lot of grants, including already fulfilled all of our research grants for this year. worked on our marketing plan, some volunteer recruitment, and then working on transitioning some of our emails and documents through a Microsoft grant that we just received. So I just wanted people to get a sense of all the work that's been going on. It has been a very busy year. Maria has helped us tremendously get a lot of things organized and restructured and in place. So we're in a very exciting spot right now. So for the remainder of the year, I just again wanted to make sure if board members had other things we want to make sure to capture on this list as we go back and finish up the year. We are going to need to do a bylaw update. Our bylaws were updated 3 years ago, I think, before we had staff, before we had committees. So our lawyer has suggested that we take a look at those again and make some adjustments. So we'll be creating a committee to tackle that. After conference, we always do a conference debrief, talk about things that we heard, share feedback some of you brought to our walk-in hour. Thank you for those who stopped by and shared suggestions. So we'll be tackling that in August at our next meeting. We'll be talking about growing that fundraising committee and our fundraising plan for next year. We'll be kicking off our financial committee now that we have Josh here to help us with that. We have a few more board trainings and developments we're working on, and then that migration of those documents I mentioned. And then at the end of the year, certainly do our budget and our strategic planning for next year. So anybody have items that you want to make sure get on this list for the rest of this year planning?
Sorry, we're just rubber stamping today.
No, sorry, board members.
That's pretty comprehensive, to be honest.
I'm calling it comprehensive.
Yeah.
Everyone's quiet today.
Oh, I think it's comprehensive.
Okay. Well, this is the fluid list, so I just wanted people to have an idea of some of the priorities that we'll be looking at for the rest of the year, and certainly we have ongoing discussions as things come up on what else is needed. All right, I did want to give a quick update since we had everybody in person here that we are going to do some board membership effective next month. We did officially vote on this as a board with quorum in our June meeting, but just want to make sure before it goes on online that those of you here your vote is heard. So we did vote to move Alexis from vice president to president. Marshall over here will move from member at large to our vice president role. And then I'm told no one wants to be secretary, so I'm going to switch over and help support that role for a little bit as well. So we don't have to vote because, again, we officially voted and it's in our minutes from June. All right, we're just going to take a, oh, sorry. I'll turn me off. Oh, is it on still? Marcia's going to walk us through one of our primary fundraising events we're doing this year that AMCSI is co-sponsoring. And so he'll let us know some of the changes we're going to see this year for 253 for AMC.
Thanks, Jenny.
Can you pass it?
First off, thank you all for being here. I know it's been a long week. It's definitely an honor and a privilege to sit up here and be trusted to help with the direction of the organization that we've all come to know, love, and enjoy. This week's been absolutely incredible, so thanks for that. Just by show of hands, just so I have some sense of, is there anyone in the room who's sort of like heard of this bike ride, 253 for AMC? Okay, good. Handful, maybe half. I think it's helpful to provide a little bit of backstory and context. When I first came onto the board, I distinctly remember asking, like, hey, where is an area where we can use help? How can I be helpful? And there was this sense of, we could really use support with fundraising. I knew absolutely nothing about fundraising. I liked to ride bikes, and I had this idea, and sort of said, hey, what if I, rode a bike and created awareness around arthritis in the process, tried to raise funds. And out of that conversation grew 253 for AMC last year, the 253 standing for 253 miles between Burlington and Montville. And made the bike ride that I did, and along the way created awareness about the condition in our community. And had sort of an epiphany during that process. After the first 10 or 20 people came up to me and said, hey, how do I ride with you? How do I participate? And the truth is, well, you couldn't, we were just trying to figure this out as we went. We sort of built it as we went. We had this really great foundation. And so as we came into this year, the idea was, how do we sort of encourage people to think about what their 253 is? Meaning, the event has been built around movement or motion, but I recognize that not everybody can or wants to take a week off of work to ride their bike across New England. And so this is an opportunity that we're opening up to all of you to get involved in whatever way makes sense for you and your community. And like so many other large fundraisers, the way to expand is to allow our membership and our community to tell others in their life about arthrogryposis, and to sort of be the cog in the middle of the wheel and get their friends, their family, their coworkers involved. And so our view or our thought going into the future is that this event can continue to grow in that way. We've included the QR code here so that you can go out to the website and check it out. We're going to share a couple of examples of what our 253 is. We've had almost 10 teams already formed and over $5,000 raised in the first week. We launched last week, which is really exciting, and next week we'll be starting in on corporate sponsors, so actually kind of get the website populated with sponsors. So there will be an actual event September 23rd in Portland, Maine, at brewery and pub called Liquid Riot. They've agreed to brew a can of beer that is going to be distributed with a QR code that will go to AMCSI's website, with proceeds going to the organization. So that's fun. I'm a beer guy, and they've also donated the brewery for that afternoon at no cost to the organization and our community to have an arthrogryposis awareness and celebration event, which is really, really cool. Not everyone can make it to Maine on the 23rd, so between now and then, it's sort of that fundraising period. And what I did is I got a group of friends together and said, hey, can you exercise 253 miles between now and September 23rd? All were really excited about the idea. Some are riding bikes, some are running, swimming, boating, a combination of all of that. And each has committed to fundraising $500. So my team of 10 already grew to 15 at $500 each, which is really fun. That's my 253. And in the spirit of sort of celebrating the unique differences that make all of us capable, again, we want to share a couple of other examples of how people are approaching their 253.
Alexis and I have joined in and are going to do some different versions. So I usually have an annual 5K that I stopped at when COVID started. And so this year we're going to restart up the Dylan Dash in Minnesota. So I will also be hosting an event the same day as Marshall's event on the 23rd. And ours will be a 2.53 mile walk around neutral around Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we're going to branch into it. And can I get the Facebook people?
I'm looking out from the social media piece. So our family is taking this even more outside the 253, and we're bringing it up to 253, and we're doing art projects. So 5 rock paintings, and there was one available at auction, 3 paintings, and the 2, we actually decided to walk some miles, and that is, both my children have AMC in their lowers that had multiple surgeries, some recently, and getting a mile between the 2 of them for our 2 miles is going to be really, really exciting. They're excited about it, and they're working towards their PT goals at the same time. So really, the 253 can be morphed into a lot of things I've discovered.
I'll also add that my employer has stepped up and created a committee behind the event. We already have 25 people on our team at work, which is not my team, that's my personal team, and we're continuing to take members. And their event is similar. They'll be exercising between now and the 23rd. So again, this vision is that there will be different teams all over the country, and we encourage you to get creative in how you might engage with your community. And just remember that every dollar goes right back to AMCSI, and it's a great honor to be able to fundraise on behalf of the organization and to host this event on the webpage. So thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about it. I'm grateful that we can do a second year. Sorry, can I have one last thing?
Yeah.
because when you say something out loud, you gotta make it happen. I think it's important to note that last year we set out to raise $1,000, we raised $17,900, and we have budgeted $50,000 for this year, and I don't set a goal that I don't hit, so we'll get there.
Thank you. Thanks, Marshall. All right, well, that actually brings us to a close, and then we'll have closing ceremony. I just wanted to make a few quick comments before closing, since this will be my official last meeting as president, and wanted to just share some gratitude and appreciation for some folks. When I put my name forward to join the board 5 years ago, I was not intending to become president or vice president. It wasn't on my radar. I just wanted to help EMCSI in some way after fundraising. I'm much more, those of you who know me, I'm much more comfortable in the background, helping and serving from the side. So, but I just wanted everyone to know that I'm serving today with an absolutely amazing group of people up here and those that aren't up here as well, and some that have left since I joined the board. There's so many talents and skills, and just wanted to say thank you to each of you. Thank you for trusting me and for all the support and all the hard work and your dedication. It's been a pleasure to see this group grow. I know having Alexis and Marshall now in the two chair and vice chair spots, as well as supported by Maria and our staff and our other BOD members, will continue to move forward. I have no doubt about that. So I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure working with all of you.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we will close 1 minute late, sorry. 2:31.